baby.
Hi, and welcome back to Deep Six Wrestling. I'm your host, Just Pat, and this is another episode of 5 Matches to Watch. In this series, I take a look at 5 matches that happened from across the world of pro wrestling this past week and give you my personal recommendations. The only stipulation is there can only be 1 match per show, so not an entire pay-per-view or TV show, just 1 match per show. That's it. Be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling for any live coverage or live tweeting of wrestling events. Personally, I'm live tweeting every single G1 show. It's messing up my sleep schedule, but I'm with it. You know, the G1's been off to a great start this year, so looking forward to it. We also live tweet WWE shows, so pay-per-views, and even Raw and SmackDown. So definitely be sure to follow us over there at Deep Six Wrestling. It'll be right below me in the video and down in the description below. And also be sure to subscribe for all your wrestling coverage right here at Deep Six Wrestling. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Coming in at number 5 this week, we have a rematch from a couple weeks ago on 205 Live between Chad Gable and Jack Gallagher. And this match was, I would say, definitely better than their last one. Their last one kind of suffered a bit because the finish was a bit wonky. It was kind of a botched finish. There was a count out with Gallagher not getting back in the ring. He really tried to stretch it and did get back in the ring in time. And, you know, I don't know what the finish of that match was supposed to be, but they really delivered here. There is one huge downside, though, and it's kind of hard to get past. It really took me out of the match, and that's the crowd. This has to be one of the worst crowds 205 has seen in a while. For the entirety of this match, they were just dead. Like, there were very brief moments here that they came alive, like right towards the end. Like, I think this was like a 16-minute match, and I'd probably say 10 of those 16 minutes they were just completely silent for. And then there was a small group, probably consisting of maybe 6 people, either chanting boring at times or CM Punk. So, you know, not really into that, but the crowd was really dead. But these guys really gave it their all, and they just went out there and had an absolute banger of a main event for 205 Live. If you've watched my videos before, you know how big of a proponent I am for 205 Live as a show. And this is another reason why. Again, these guys went out there and they just delivered with everything they had, and just it worked. Again, the crowd got into it by the end. But just as a viewer, if you can get past that crowd, this is a match to watch. I've seen people saying it's like one of the matches of the year, and I wouldn't go that far to say. It's definitely one of the better WWE matches this year, but as a whole, it was really good stuff. But I mean, it lacks from like an actual story, and then it also lacks from like the crowd. Again, the crowd really detracts from this. Like, it's so distracting, it's not even funny. But if you haven't seen 205 Live, I definitely recommend you going to check out this match from this week. You really won't be disappointed. These guys just, so good, so smooth. The ring work here. These two have great chemistry, and I'd love to see a further program between them. Although I also wouldn't mind seeing Gallagher or Gable really go after Gulak's belt now that he's done with Tony Nese. There's a lot of options they can go with, but either way, 205 Live's looking really strong in the new Gulak era, and really just, it's a great show. So if you're not watching weekly, definitely start doing that. It's without a doubt WWE's best like wrestling show weekly on a weekly basis. I still say NXT for entertainment purposes because there's more stories there, and the crowd is always consistent, but it's also a much smaller crowd. I'd say in terms of entertainment wise, NXT is the way to go. But if you're just looking for solely the best wrestling, absolutely 205 Live, no question. Please, please, please go check out Chad Gable versus Jack Gallagher from this week's episode. Number 4 this week is Tomohiro Ishii versus Jeff Cobb from the G1 Climax 29 Night 2. This match was fantastic. It was phenomenal. Great hoss fight. And while I did enjoy Bad Luck Fale versus Lance Archer more than I think anyone ever expected when they fought each other in another hoss fight, this was without a doubt the one that had to make it, even though they were on different shows, but kind of wanted a variety of matches here. So this is the one we're going with. And this is just phenomenal from both guys. Again, I don't have Jeff Cobb going very far in the tournament in terms of my predictions for points, but I did specifically say in my predictions video, which you can watch down in the description below, that he was going to have a very impressive tournament, and I think that this is the one that proves it. Literally his first block match of the tournament, and he had the best match of the night. This was just so good. Like the ring work from both guys, so much athleticism from Jeff Cobb, and then the striking abilities from Tomohiro Ishii, and just their chemistry was palpable. These guys were amazing together. And if you're not watching the G1 Climax, either if you're not a New Japan fan or if you're just like kind of lazy, or if you're overwhelmed with work, or any other number of reasons that you're not watching the G1 Climax, I definitely suggest you at least watch like a couple matches of it just to get like a taste of what it is. Or if you're busy, just to like see a couple highlight matches, this is one to watch, like without a doubt. It's not too long, it's not too short, it's exactly the right amount of time. And from literally moment one, this, you can tell how good this is going to be. These guys just give it their all, they lay it all out there, and they deliver in every single way, and the crowd was so into it the whole time. The commentary was great. I could have seen either guy winning. I really thought Ishii was going to win, but I could have totally seen Jeff Cobb winning. And that's kind of a making of a good match, especially in a tournament setting like this. You need to believe that either guy can win, and I think this was one of the better matches in terms of selling that, like especially towards the ending. Like the ending, it kind of actually like came out of nowhere, and it was really well done. So definitely, if you haven't seen Jeff Cobb versus Ishii from Night 2 of the G1 Climax, go do it. It's over on New Japan World. There's English commentary and there's Japanese commentary. Choose whichever one you would like, but definitely go out of your way to see this match, because, again, this is just great stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So, yeah, absolutely high praise for this match from the bottom of my heart. All right, so coming in at number 3 this week, we have Aleister Black versus Cesaro from the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And, you know, if you saw the show, I feel like you'd know that it was going to make it onto this list. These two just had an absolute great match between each other, and it really felt like something that wasn't typical WWE style. And I'm not trying to knock the WWE style of working matches. It worked in other places on this show specifically. When you look at the Falls Count Anywhere match between Strowman and Lashley, and then also the opening tag match with Taker and Reigns versus Shane and Drew. Those matches were also really good. I almost put the Falls Count Anywhere match on here because I really enjoyed that, but this was just something else. Like John Pollock of Post Wrestling mentioned it on their recap show, that you could have taken this match and put it in like a G1 Climax block match, and it would have still been this, like, it would have fit right in there as like a New Japan match. And it's something, it just, there was a feeling of it, the way that these two worked together, the aggressiveness, just like the massive amount of strikes, and just like their chemistry and the frantic pace they worked at for what was over 10 minutes. It was probably between like 12 and 15 minutes of a match. I don't have the exact time, but it was so well executed. Just the spots in here are not things you really see. There was a spot where Aleister was going for like I think it was like a top rope Meteora, and Cesaro caught him with the knees and then like put him up in the air for an uppercut. And then there was Cesaro going off the ropes for a springboard. I think it was a springboard uppercut. Don't know because he never hit the move. But and then Black catches him with a knee strike. And then later in the match, towards the end, Cesaro's just like murdering Aleister Black with like just a series of uppercuts. And they all looked so good. These guys, just put them on TV just forever. Like, I know there's always the fight forever chance, like down in NXT for like when you had Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. This is another match I would legitimately like to see them fight forever. Cesaro, I don't know what's going to happen to him in this new era. I know that, like, apparently Paul Heyman's big on Cesaro, and he always has been, so maybe he'll get a big push over on Raw. But honestly, just I hate the wild card rule, but if it allows me to see Cesaro versus Aleister Black, I will take it any day, because these two work so goddamn well together. And seriously, if you didn't watch Extreme Rules for whatever reason, go to the network and just find this match. It's pretty early on in the show. It's so good. And again, this is another one where the crowd was kind of weird, and it was weird because it's Philly, but like for the whole first like 5 minutes, they're kind of just silent, and it was very strange. But they came alive in it, and it wasn't like as distracting as the 205 Live match. So definitely worth checking out for this one. And yeah, I really do want to see more Aleister Black versus Cesaro matches. Just, I guess, put it on at SummerSlam. Maybe put a stipulation in there. I'd say 2 out of 3 falls, but that doesn't really feel special anymore. So I don't really know what I'd do for them. Maybe like SummerSlam's already going to be a long show, so I don't want to torture anybody. But if I was like fantasy booking, like a 30-minute Iron Man match between Aleister Black versus Cesaro would be phenomenal. Or if you want to do like a multi-man match for the Intercontinental title, instead of just doing Nakamura and Ali, you could toss these two in there, put Andrade in there and Buddy Murphy, and you got yourself a really nice field of competitors. But, you know, time will tell. But I kind of got off on a little rant there, so just the moral of the story is go to the WWE Network as soon as this video is done, go to Extreme Rules, and go watch Aleister Black versus Cesaro. The runner-up spot this week is going to KENTA versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from the G1 Climax 29, Night 3. And, I was one of the detractors of Hiroshi Tanahashi being in this tournament, both because of, injuries and just the state he's in physically. But this match, I'll say this match is a prime example of why he's in the tournament and why he is called the Ace of New Japan. I genuinely don't know how it's possible that this man was so immobile like a month ago in his match. I don't even remember who it was against, but there was a match, I think it was at Dominion, and he looked so bad. It looked like he was a horse that needed to be put out of his misery when he was trying to walk around the ring. And he comes out here and delivers such a great performance against KENTA. And I guess you could make the argument of Kenta's carrying him. But no, that's not the situation here. Hiroshi Tanahashi is still such a good wrestler that he's able to still perform at this level while not being 100%. And, I'll take back what I said. Tanahashi, as long as you stay healthy through this tournament, or healthier than you are, then I'm totally okay with you being in this. And this was great stuff. I think KENTA looked better here than he did in the previous couple nights. He finally seems to have that aggression in him, that the I wouldn't say ignorance, but just he has a meanness in him that's so needed for his style and for who he is. And I really think he delivered here. And then you had the whole post-match thing where KENTA went to go shake Tanahashi's hand, and Tanahashi psyched him out, didn't go for it. I'm very interested to see where that goes. The following night on night 4, they played it up in a tag match and said that KENTA has to earn Tanahashi's respect. So maybe we're heading towards a big match with these two following the actual tournament itself, which, from this match, I totally wouldn't be opposed to. This was another one of the best matches of the tournament so far. And, good for Tanahashi that he's able to do this. He's had 2 really, really, really good matches so far, and we're only 2 nights in for him in terms of singles matches. He had one on the first night, one here. So, props to you, Tanahashi. You're killing it, man. And KENTA, I'm very happy to see that he is actually, being used to full effect somewhere. And this G1 seems like, the way he's being booked right now, it seems like KENTA's about to have a huge G1. So that's pretty exciting stuff, if you ask me. After, again, especially being somebody who was a big fan of him as Hideo Itami, and then just being very upset with the way he was booked, but also understanding that it was kind of due to injuries. I'm happy that he's doing something well right now, and that he's just it's just a good time to be a KENTA fan. So if you haven't seen this, head to New Japan World, as I'll continue to say for any G1 matches. But head over to New Japan World, go check this match out. Definitely worth your time. It's the main event of night 3 of the G1 Climax. Coming in at our number 1 spot, the King of the Mountain, the King of the Ring, whatever you want to call it, is Jay White versus Tomohiro Ishii from night 4 of the G1 Climax 29. And before the G1 actually started, I mentioned in a video that I was very much expecting these videos, the series specifically, to become front-loaded with talk about the G1 Climax and the matches. And so far, it's coming true. There was a string of, nights 2, 3, and 4 were all back-to-back-to-back. And so it kind of just happened that these matches all made it on the list. They are all technically separate nights and technically separate shows, while they're all still part of a tournament. So they do each qualify to make the list. But anyway, about the match. Jay White is one of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. He's up there with Andrade and Buddy Murphy. Sadly, Murphy's not being used, but the other two are, so I'm happy about that. But, his first match in the tournament was against Hiroki Goto, and I thought that was a really good match, but he didn't win that match. I didn't predict him to win that match, but I was still upset that he lost. And then he came out here against Tomohiro Ishii, and I totally expected him to win. You can't always get what you want, and spoiler alert, Jay White lost that match. But this is, without a doubt, my match of the tournament so far. This was phenomenal. I just, the ring work here, again, Ishii gets to make the list twice this week, so, that says something about the guy. I really do think he should, at some point, get to hold the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I don't know if it'll happen, but I definitely hope it does. And just his chemistry with Jay White, similar to like how it clicked with Cobb, I think it really just shows to the level of how good Tomohiro Ishii is, and to that extent how good Jay White is. There's some people that don't like him, but he's really grown so well into this like new supervillain persona that he has since losing the title. And again, I thought Jay White was going to have a really strong tournament. He's now 0-2, so not too sure. He can kind of bounce back at this point. Again, Naito's 0-2 as well, but it's really cool to be a Jay White fan and see him get these really big matches and to do so well in them. Like, the whole final sequence to this was just absolutely fantastic. Again, this was another match that was kind of like a full-on sprint, and these guys absolutely delivered. This, in my opinion, this should have been the main event of Night 4. I understand why it wasn't. Taichi and Naito also deserved it, but this was the superior match in every stretch of the imagination to me. And again, if I'm going to try and sell you on one match of the G1, go check out Jay White versus Ishii, because if you're disappointed by this, I don't get it. Like, this was so good in every way. Just the character work from both guys, the ring work, the commentary, the crowd, just the pacing of the match, the layout of the match, the moves, everything about this match worked. This is probably my new favorite match of the year. Like, this was just so good. I was sitting here like so tired and sleep deprived watching this, and it woke me up. And it's just, again, wrestling is such a cool thing. This whole tournament is such a cool thing, and I really hope that if you're not watching the G1 Climax, you at least give it a shot to watch like one match, because you're really missing out on some of the best wrestling in the world right now. And that's not to like knock anybody else. Like, I still love 205 Live. The main roster's been fine. Extreme Rules was a really good pay-per-view. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. AEW's been good. Fight for the Fallen was a pretty meh show. Still haven't seen the Evolve show fully through. But, you know, so there's a lot of good wrestling out going on right now. Like, this is so good. If you're a wrestling fan, this is a great time to be alive, because you're getting so much content. And the G1 Climax is giving you consistently some of the best matches of the year on, like, almost a semi-daily basis. So, to me, if you're not watching the G1 Climax, I really think you're doing yourself a disservice, and so you'll find some new favorite wrestlers. Like, there's so many good people in this field, like Jay White and Tomohiro Ishii, for example, or Zack Sabre Jr., or Hiroshi Tanahashi, or KENTA, or Taichi, or Tetsuya Naito. There's so many people with so many different styles and personas and movesets. It's just, the G1 Climax is phenomenal. I really can't praise it enough. And I'm saying it here and now, so far, as of July, Jay White and Tomohiro Ishii from Night 4 of the G1 Climax is my match of the year, without a doubt. So definitely go check this out if you haven't got the chance to. I was trying to be pretty vague here, didn't mention any specific spots. I did mention who won, but if you're following the G1 at all, then like loosely, then you know that. And if you're not watching the G1, then I feel like you probably don't care. So just go watch this match. Be blown away. Just give in and let the match take you on the ride that it is. And with that all being said, that brings us to the end of the video this week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of 5 Matches to Watch. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win the G1 Climax and what your favorite matches have been at the tournament so far. And also be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to Deep Six Wrestling. We really appreciate it. Also, be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. We live tweet events. We live tweet just opinions. We tweet out our videos. We try to interact with everybody. Personally, myself, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm live tweeting the entirety of the G1 Climax. It's been a great tournament, and it's been worth it to get up so early in the morning for this, because again, so far so good. But yeah, be sure to follow us over on Twitter, and yeah, I'll see you next week for another episode of 5 Matches to Watch. Until then, peace.
Roman, you just can't take the heat. I'm just too hot. They call me Mr. Fahrenheit.